Final Fantasy XIII might be the last of its kind. The CEO of Square Enix said of Final Fantasy, "Whether we are going to continue to internally create this type of game remains to be seen, because I actually feel that the team that was involved with Final Fantasy XIII should next move on to create and generate some next-generation forms of play." Brian, this is where I normally would ask you a question,
Yeah.
but I'm going to take over from here.
Okay.
All right, Square Enix, all right, Yoichi Wada. First of all, the board of directors of Square Enix need to fire Wada, okay?
Whoa.
They need to fire him. All he has done in the past decade, or however long he's been there for, is say ridiculous quotes, okay?
Yeah.
That are like, what? What are you talking about, buddy? And then he just goes back into his meeting room.
You're calling him out to be fired?
He needs to be fired. All he has done is switch the focus of Square to develop DS games, okay? And most of those DS games haven't even been good, okay? They don't know how to develop on consoles anymore. They're not up to speed on anything right now, and they don't even know what their own fans want. And I say that because he's talking about, Final Fantasy, this might be the last of its kind, move on to next generation, all this stuff, right? Well, guess what? The beef that people have potentially with FF13 is not the gameplay, okay? Because apparently it has one of the best battle systems in an RPG ever. Everybody is singing praises about the battle system.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that's what the gameplay is in these JRPGs, is the battle system, right? No, it's characters and story. That's what people play Final Fantasy for, characters and story. If you think back to all the best Final Fantasies, they were the best Final Fantasies, not because of revolutionary gameplay, but because of the story, because of the setting, because of the characters, right? So, they need to fire him. They need to fire the developers. Okay, you keep hearing the same names, Nomura and all these guys. Their names are always associated with Final Fantasy. Well, guess what? If they're creating Final Fantasies that people don't like, maybe they need to hit the road. Or maybe take this team, put them on another franchise. But don't screw up Final Fantasy, okay? Because people want Final Fantasy to be a traditional RPG with towns, okay? That's why people are complaining about FF13, because there's no towns, not because of next-gen gameplay. And when he refers to next-gen gameplay, if he's talking about creating some, fake open world where you have to make these ridiculous moral decisions that have absolutely nothing to do with the end game of the story, okay, I'm talking to you, BioWare and Bethesda, okay, because if that's next-gen RPG, I want out, all right? If I want to play a game like that, I get a WRPG, okay? I buy a Bethesda game. I don't buy a Square Enix game. I do not want them to ruin JRPGs. Since the beginning of this generation,
oh my God.
when they chose the Xbox 360 over the PS3, that was big mistake number one. Because what they did was they developed games for a system that, one, didn't have a user base in Japan, and two, didn't have the type of people who wanted to play a JRPG. But then the second thing was that Sony screwed up because they priced the PS3 out of their own market, right? So these people who wanted JRPGs either had a choice to get a PS3, which they couldn't afford at the time, or buy a 360, which, that's not the JRPG system to buy. So that's the death of the JRPG, it started at the beginning of this generation. And I was hoping that Square Enix would save us with Final Fantasy XIII.
Maybe they have.
Maybe they have. Look, I'm not saying the Final Fantasy. I'm going to buy Final Fantasy XIII. I'm going to play it. And I'm going to hope it's a great JRPG. But when he comes out here making comments like this, like JRPGs need to be a thing of the past, who is he to say that?
He's the CEO of Square Enix.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's the CEO of Square Enix should know that there's millions of people who want good JRPGs.
He's getting fired.
He needs to get fired. I'm sick and tired of this. I want a good JRPG to play. I'm fiending for one. And this idiot is telling me that I might not be able to get one.
You heard it here, folks. Yoichi Wada is an idiot. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we discuss Bayonetta, Darksiders, the Mag Beta, and we play a little RPG. Stick around. Be right back.
Be sure to subscribe to TWiGames.com via RSS, iTunes, YouTube, and Twitter. That's TWiGames.com.
I recently cleared out some of my backlog by beating Half-Life 2 Episode 2. Amazing game, by the way. Played the new Ratchet & Clank, played some Left 4 Dead 2, so now I'm actually able to buy a game and start playing it, which Darksiders I just started. But Brian, let's start with you. You're on your second playthrough right now of Bayonetta. Worst game ever?
Rich, I just finished playing Assassin's Creed 2, okay, and I really enjoyed it. But it's like a comedian came up to me and slapped me across the face and said, "What are you playing? Let me show you what games used to be like," all right? And Bayonetta might end up being one of my favorite games of this generation, because everything about it is so much fun, it's so gamey, and it brought back the good kookiness of Japan. The kookiness I only get in the DS. It is so wacky and bananas, it's filled with personality, and just like Beautiful Joe, everything is satisfying. One of the things I really love about this game, is it's made by someone who loves video games for people who love video games. It is filled with references, all right? Not only does it reference all of his old games, like Outrun is in there, even Halo and Resident Evil 4 get a shout out. This thing is brimming with love. It's like a Tarantino movie. Chapter 14 itself is an homage to old school gaming, all on its own. And I'm going to say this right now. This is going to end up being one of your favorite games this generation. I'm going this far. If people don't like Bayonetta, then I don't like you. All right? I don't like you. If you don't like Bayonetta, I don't like you. That's how far I'm going. Love it. Huge shout out to Platinum Games. It's amazing.
Look, Bri, you know me, okay?
Yeah.
You know that I love action games. You know that I love Kamiya's action games. And you know that I love Japanese games. I'm afraid to play Bayonetta.
Why are you afraid to play it?
I feel like at the end of the game, I'm just going to cry. I'm just going to bawl out crying, like tears. Like, oh. Because this game is going to remind me, like, of the days of the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2.
Yeah, no, that's what it's like.
Where Japanese game developers made the best games out there, all right? And this guy's bringing it back.
He is bringing it back like crazy.
He's making me miss, like, the Japanese games, like, because this generation, Japan is so behind times. And you mentioned that, like, you only get that Japan kookiness.
The good kookiness.
On DS.
Yeah.
That's because the Japanese developers are making games for the DS. They need to just step it up, man. Like, oh, man, I'm dying for more Japanese developers to do what Kamiya has done, step their game up, and make games for the 360 and PS3. Like,
Yeah.
I'm lacking this Japanese feeling.
And Kamiya, can we talk about how good of a game designer he is? All right, Resident Evil 2,
Yeah.
Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, Okami, and now Bayonetta. Talk about a thing. And my friend had a great point about Kamiya and why he's a great designer. One of the reasons why he's a great designer is his games are automatically fun. You can just mash.
Yeah.
But there's going to come a point in the game where he makes you learn the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And Bayonetta, there's like 5 stages of that game where you need to understand every facet of that game.
Yeah.
And that's what it's a game. You know, Assassin's Creed 2 I enjoyed, and I'm not bashing it, but it's not really a game. It's more of an interactive movie you go through.
Yeah.
This is a game. Even making potions in it is a game. Oh my God, Kamiya killed it. He killed it.
So, all right, so, you know, I played the demo.
Yeah.
How representative is the demo of the game?
It is and it isn't, because the demo is easy. This game is hard.
Yeah.
If you're playing on normal, first of all, I'm terrible at the game.
Hard like Devil May Cry 3 hard? Like that level?
Well, I never played that game, but it's hard. You know, I didn't get a lot of gold medals and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's the point is I'm playing it again now, and I feel so much more powerful. And this is a single-player game I haven't seen since the PS1, PS2 games. And what I mean by that is it's only 12 hours long.
Yeah.
I want to keep playing because I don't feel like they've explored it enough.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to master it because it's actually a game. It's not tedious.
That's
It's
the thing.
fun.
See, that's the thing with this generation is, you know, we're playing all these games. We're almost being brainwashed to think that great is just like how
Graphics.
epic it is
Yeah.
and how great it looks and
Yeah.
how, you know, how amazing the music and the cutscenes are. But yeah, I mean, we're forgetting just about the actual game.
Yeah, this is a game in every sense.
Man, I cannot wait to play this.
But what did you think of Darksiders?